Kevin Stefanski has officially become that guy. You know, the one, always playing it safe, always sticking to the plan, always doing this smart thing on paper even when reality is screaming in his face to wake up. And now, his obsession with playing it safe might be the very thing blowing up his entire locker room. Because here's the cold, brutal truth. The Cleveland Browns are done with the wait-and-see act. The locker room? Over it. The fans? Beyond frustrated. And Stefanski?
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Still clinging to a dying philosophy that patience is always a virtue, even when it's sinking the team. Let's call it what it is. Keeping Shedeur Sanders on the bench this long isn't strategy. It's fear masquerading as leadership. And the players? They've smelled it from a mile away. You can feel the shift. At first, it was cautious optimism. Let the kid learn. Let the vets handle business. Let Shedeur marinate behind the scenes. But now, it's turned to mutiny. The players have seen enough of practice. They've seen Shedeur run scout team drills better than the actual starters run the offense on Sundays. They've watched the zip on his passes, the pocket presence, the decision-making, all of it screaming QB1. And meanwhile, Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel are out here running the offense like a dial-up internet connection in 2025. Slow, predictable, error-prone. It's painful to watch. And yet, Stefanski keeps trotting them out, week after week. Like the answer to Cleveland's quarterback prayers is hiding somewhere in a check-down pass to the fullback on 3rd and 12. It's not. The answer is on the sideline, wearing a headset, warming up a cannon, and looking more ready every week. Let's get one thing clear. This isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. This is a full-blown leadership crisis. And Stefanski? He's losing the room inch by inch. Because when your players stop believing in your decision-making, it doesn't matter how long your playbook is. It doesn't matter how many analytics you throw at the wall. If the guys on the field don't trust the man calling the shots, the whole operation falls apart. And that's exactly where the Browns are headed. The whispers started in the locker room. A few eye rolls. A little tension in the huddle. Then it spread, guys talking inside conversations, offense looking at defense like, y'all see this too, right? And now, it's out in the open. Players backing Shedeur on social. Shouting him out in interviews. Highlighting him in film sessions. A few of them aren't even being subtle about it anymore. They're daring the coaching staff to make the right call. That's how far it's gone. And yet, nothing. Stefanski continues to wave the flag of caution like it's still 2020 and no one's watching. But guess what? Everyone's watching. And the more he sticks to this outdated, let the vet lead mentality, the more he looks like a coach who's managing his own job security, not the team's success. Let's talk about Shedeur for a second because he's not just some shiny new toy with a flashy name. He's not just Coach Prime's kid. This guy has substance. The reports coming out of practice? Unanimous. He's sharp. Commanding. He's already leading. Veterans are buying into him. Receivers are responding to him. The offensive line perks up when he steps in. There's a different energy with Shedeur out there, and that's not something you can manufacture with a whiteboard and a whistle. That's natural leadership. And it's driving everyone crazy that Stefanski can't, or won't, see it. Now, you could maybe justify this if the other quarterbacks were thriving. If Flacco was having a vintage season or Gabriel was managing games like a steady-handed pro, we wouldn't be here. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is the Browns are hemorrhaging offensive momentum in critical games. What's happening is turnovers, stalled drives, conservative play calls, and defenses stacking the box because they don't respect the passing game. And every time Shedeur isn't subbed in, the players know they're not putting the best 11 on the field. And you better believe that eats away at a team. This is the kind of decision that fractures trust. Not just in the coach, but in the entire system. When a team feels like the guy under center isn't the one who should be there, it changes the way they play. Subtly. Slowly. But it happens. The blocking gets just a little bit sloppier. The routes lose a little bit of crispness. The energy on the sideline fades. Because no matter how professional these players are, they're still human. And humans don't go all in for something they don't believe in. And what they do believe in right now. Shedeur Sanders. Let's not forget this isn't some pipe dream. There's data. Cold, hard, undeniable data. Practice metrics showing Sanders ahead in almost every relevant category. Throw velocity. Timing. Footwork. Completion percentage. Red zone efficiency. Decision-making under pressure. The kid is not just talented, he's NFL ready. And yet, the coaching staff is acting like starting him is some sort of wild gamble. Like putting the best performing quarterback on the field is a revolutionary concept. It's not. It's common sense. And here's where it really gets messy. Ownership is now involved. Because when the players revolt and the fans revolt and the media revolts, eventually the guys cutting the check step in. Sources say there have been private meetings, tense conversations, evaluations not just of the quarterback situation, but of Stefanski's entire approach. There's growing concern inside the building that this isn't just about QB depth. It's about a coach who's lost the pulse of his team. And Stefanski? He's still clinging to his system like it's sacred scripture. But here's a little secret about football systems. They only work when the locker room buys in. And this one has already checked out. The fans feel it too. They're not just asking for Shedeur. They're demanding it. Signs at games. Online petitions. Trending hashtags. Talk radio meltdowns. The pressure is building from every direction and still, nothing. So what happens next? Well, here's the grim forecast. If Stefanski doesn't pull the trigger and let Shedeur take over, he's not just risking losses, he's risking everything. Because this situation? It's reaching the point of no return. Another week of Flacco and Gabriel starts and you're looking at total collapse. Players will start checking out. Media will start sharpening their knives. And Shedeur? He may start looking at other options. And don't think other teams aren't already circling. Franchises around the league are watching this unfold and licking their chops. Because if Cleveland can't figure out how to use the talent they already have, someone else will. Trade rumors are already buzzing. If the Browns keep treating Sanders like an afterthought, some GM is going to slide in with a tempting offer. And just like that, your future franchise QB is gone. Gone because your head coach couldn't let go of safe. Gone because your team's leadership mistook hesitation for wisdom. Gone because Kevin Stefanski played not to lose, and ended up losing everything. So now we ask the question that's been hanging in the air for weeks. How much longer are the Browns going to delay the inevitable? How many more ugly losses will it take before someone finally says, enough? Because Shedeur isn't just knocking on the door, he's kicking it in. It's time to play the guy your team already believes in. It's time to bench the ghosts of quarterbacks past. It's time to lead. Because if Stefanski won't do it, the Browns will find someone who will. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Shedeur start now? Is Stefanski in over his head, or is this just another Browns-sized overreaction? Let us know what you would do if you were running the show in Cleveland. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into football drama, quarterback chaos, and the beautiful disasters we call NFL seasons, because the Browns might just be giving us the meltdown of the year. This whole Brown-Sanders-Stefanski situation? It's not just a football story anymore. It's a case study in how not to handle talent, trust, or timing. And now we've reached the part of the movie where the warning signs have all been ignored, the sirens are blaring, and the hero, if there still is one, needs to rise before everything burns to the ground. But right now, the only thing rising is tension. And you can see it everywhere. On the sidelines, in post-game interviews, in the way players avoid eye contact when someone brings up the quarterback situation. Because this isn't about game plans anymore. This is about pride, stubbornness, politics. The ugly behind-the-scenes stuff that can take a playoff-caliber team and turn it into a weekly headline for all the wrong reasons. Let's talk about what this is doing to the players, because they're the ones caught in the crossfire. These guys aren't dumb. They know what a capable quarterback looks like. They've played with them, against them, studied them. And they've watched, up close and personal, as Shedeur Sanders carved up scout team defenses with surgical precision, while Flacco and Gabriel limped their way through 3-and-outs and ducky overthrows. Do you think players want to lose? Do you think they want to waste another year of their prime? You've got all-pro defenders giving it everything on one side of the ball, only to watch the offense fumble opportunities like they're allergic to momentum. You've got wide receivers running crisp routes just to get overthrown or ignored. You've got offensive linemen taking hits for quarterbacks who can't extend a play for more than 2.5 seconds. And everyone knows there's a better option sitting on the sideline. So yeah, the frustration is boiling over. And that's when the fractures start turning into full-on fissures. The offense starts side-eyeing the coaching staff. The defense starts whispering in the locker room. Star players start texting their agents like, "How long we stuck here again?" And once that energy spreads, you don't just get it back with a team dinner and a motivational speech. Trust is fragile in the NFL. It doesn't take much to break it, and once it's gone, it's gone. And the Browns right now are playing with fire. And speaking of playing with fire, Shedeur is handling all of this with elite-level poise. Most young QBs in this situation, They'd crack. They'd lash out. They'd go rogue, leak quotes, post some mysterious "only God can judge me" caption on Instagram. But Shedeur? He's locked in. Focused. All class. All composure. He's doing everything right, even while everything around him is going wrong. And that's exactly why the players respect him. He's not begging for the role. He's earning it. He's not being dramatic. He's being ready. He's doing the work, and doing it better than the guys getting the starts. And that's what makes Stefanski's refusal to play him so baffling. It's not like this is a guy struggling in camp. This isn't a "he needs more time to develop" situation. This is a player who's already exceeded expectations, and is still being treated like a redshirt freshman. It's malpractice. Flat out. And let's be real, Stefanski is not new to the whole QB controversy dance. He's been through Baker. He's been through Brissett. He's been through Deshaun's mess. And every time the handling has been shaky at best. But this time it's different. Because now you've got the players choosing sides. You've got veterans backing the rookie, not the coach. You've got leadership from within the locker room saying, "This is the guy we believe in." And Stefanski? He's out here acting like it's still preseason. Still talking about trusting the process and sticking to the plan. Man, what plan? Because from the outside looking in, this looks less like a plan and more like a panic spiral. Every week that goes by, the Browns' identity gets fuzzier. Who are they? A defense-first team with a run-heavy offense? A developing franchise with a future star they refuse to use? A veteran-led squad praying Joe Flacco still has one more spark left in him? Whatever the answer is, it sure as hell isn't stable. And here's the twist Stefanski might not be ready for. Even ownership is starting to tilt. The Haslams didn't bring in Shedeur to let him rot behind aging, ineffective veterans. They brought him in because they saw what the players see. What the fans see. What everyone sees. The kid is special. And in today's NFL, when you've got special, you use it. You don't sit on it like a lottery ticket waiting to expire. You cash it in. You build around it. You ride that momentum straight into a playoff berth and don't look back. That's how winning franchises operate. But right now, Cleveland looks like it's more afraid of being wrong than it is hungry to be great. They're clinging to control instead of chasing greatness. And that's how dynasties don't happen. That's how teams become cautionary tales. And don't think for a second this locker room doesn't know that. Some of these players have been on those teams. They've seen it before. The wasted talent. The what could have been seasons. The coaches who couldn't adapt. They've seen it all. And they're starting to see it again, right here in Cleveland. So where does this go? Well, unless Stefanski pulls a miracle pivot in the next couple of weeks, the Browns are headed for a reckoning. You can feel it coming. One more loss and the media pressure becomes relentless. One more Flacco meltdown and the fans are going to flood the gates. One more week without Shedeur and you're going to see more players speaking out, directly, publicly, with no filters. And then, the spiral hits. Stefanski's job is already on a countdown clock. The locker room's patience is already past the red line. And Shedeur? His star is rising whether Stefanski wants it to or not. So the Browns have two options. Option 1, they stay the course, keep playing it safe, keep feeding the fans mediocrity wrapped in excuses, and watch this season go up in smoke before Halloween decorations even come down. They wake up. They bench the ghosts of quarterback past. They listen to the locker room. They give Shedeur Sanders the keys and finally stop being afraid of what he might do, and start being excited about it. Because here's the wild thing. This could all turn around. Fast. Imagine the spark Shedeur could bring. The energy. The explosiveness. The belief. The Browns don't need to be perfect. They just need hope. A reason to rally. A reason to believe this isn't just another wasted year in a long string of disappointments. And Shedeur? He is that reason. He's the bridge to something bigger. But only if the Browns are willing to take that step. Now, the Cleveland Browns are teetering on the edge of something way bigger than a quarterback decision. This is about who they are and, more importantly, who they're about to become. And right now, they're about to become a team defined by hesitation. Not heart. Not hustle. Not even heartbreak, which Browns fans are practically fluent in. No, this time it's different. This time, it's the inability to act that's killing them. This time, it's the slow, suffocating grind of inaction that's threatening to break not just the season, but the soul of the locker room. And that's the part that hurts the most. Because for once, Cleveland had the pieces. They've got a defense that hits like a freight train. They've got playmakers across the board. They've got one of the most loyal, long-suffering, and electrified fan bases in football, foaming at the mouth for a taste of relevance that lasts longer than 3 weeks. And what do they get? A coach who won't adapt. A QB carousel that's spinning in slow motion. And a front office that's this close to letting it all fall apart. And again, this isn't just some media-driven narrative. This isn't fantasy football fan fiction. This is real. This is happening. Behind the scenes, behind the playbook, behind every awkward post-game interview where Stefanski grits his teeth and says something like, "We just have to execute better." No, Kevin. We don't need more execution. We need a new direction. Let's be brutally honest here. If Shedeur Sanders' name wasn't Sanders, if he didn't come from a college system people love to doubt, if he didn't bring eyeballs and buzz and that new school confidence that makes old school football guys itch in their khakis, he'd already be starting. You know it. I know it. The players definitely know it. And that's part of the problem too. Because what this locker room sees, beyond the poor decisions, beyond the missed opportunities, is politics. And once guys feel like decisions aren't being made based on merit, but on ego and optics, forget it. That locker room is gone. You can't game plan your way out of that. You can't scheme around it. You lose that locker room and your coaching shadows. And Stefanski? He's standing in a room full of shadows right now. You don't get quotes like, "We trust Shedeur to lead if needed," leaking out unless the dam's already cracking. You don't get passive-aggressive post-game comments about missed opportunities unless people are itching for change. And while this slow-motion disaster unfolds, let's talk about the guy in the eye of the storm, Shedeur himself. The kid has handled this with ridiculous maturity. Seriously, if it were anyone else, this whole saga could have exploded 3 weeks ago. But Shedeur has stayed classy, kept his mouth shut, kept grinding, and let his play speak louder than the politics swirling around him. That's rare, especially for a rookie, especially for a quarterback who comes in with hype, a pedigree, and the weight of expectations that most people can't carry without cracking. But Shedeur? Not only has he not cracked, he's thriving under the pressure. And that's why the team is backing him. Not just because he can throw a 40-yard dime off platform. Not just because he's a better runner, a better improviser, a better modern quarterback than anyone else on the depth chart. But because he's got it. He's got that composure, that gravity, that leadership quality that makes grown men turn to you when everything's falling apart. And the fact that Stefanski can't, or won't, see that, is starting to feel like sabotage. If not of Shedeur, then of the entire team's potential. And hey, maybe Stefanski thinks he's protecting Shedeur. Maybe in his head, this is all about long-term development, about insulating a young guy from too much pressure. Maybe he thinks he's playing chess while the rest of us are stuck on checkers. But let me tell you something. This isn't chess. This is war. And you don't send in pawns when you've got a knight who's already halfway down the board, slicing through defenses like they're standing still. Shedeur isn't some kid who needs a confidence boost. He's not some project quarterback. He's ready. Every practice rep says it. Every locker room whisper confirms it. Every frustrated look on the sideline screams it. But instead of leaning into that momentum, instead of unlocking the one piece of this roster that could actually elevate the team, Stefanski's doubled down on mediocrity. Unsafe. Unscared. And now the Browns are spiraling. Slowly. Tragically. Like a team that knew better but refused to believe it. Because here's the thing about timing in the NFL. It's everything. When you have a window, you go through it. You don't wait for the perfect conditions. You don't keep rearranging the furniture while the house is burning. You move. Because you might not get this window again. Injuries pile up. Contracts expire. Defensive units start leaking. Chemistry shifts. And before you know it, that championship caliber roster becomes that one team that could have been something. And right now, the 2025 Cleveland Browns are inching toward that could have been something label. They could have been a Cinderella story. They could have been the team that finally stopped being a punchline. They could have been the team that took a shot on their rookie and watched him grow into a legend right in front of them. But instead they're stalling. They're waiting. And while they wait, other teams are getting bold. Other rookies are getting chances. Other organizations are doing what the Browns refuse to do, believe in their guy. And maybe that's the most painful part of all this. Because this isn't a team that's missing 100 pieces. This is a team that might only be one right decision away from turning it all around. But Stefanski? He's too caught up in his system. Too afraid of making the wrong call. And in doing so, he's making the worst one possible. So here's the final verdict. You either ride with the guy the locker room already sees as a leader, or you risk losing them forever. You either make the change now while there's still time to salvage the season, or you go down clinging to your comfort zone. There's no more middle ground. No more, we'll reevaluate after the bye week. No more, we're confident in our veteran leadership. No more excuses, because the clock's run out. And you can only bench greatness for so long before the people around it start looking for an exit. So let's wrap this up with the only question that matters. What kind of team do you want to be, Cleveland? Do you want to be the team that believed in its future? That listened to its locker room? That took a leap of faith and came out the other side stronger? Or do you want to be the team that blinked? That hesitated? That played it safe while greatness warmed the bench? Drop your answers in the comments. Are you Team Shedeur, or are you still holding out hope for the Flacco redemption arc? And if you're as deep into this meltdown as we are, hit that subscribe button. We've got more chaos, quarterback controversies, and coaching decisions that'll make your blood pressure spike coming your way. Because if the Browns aren't going to give us wins, they'll definitely give us drama.